I'd like to call the regular council meeting for the city of Freeport to order October 23rd, 2025. Please stand for invocation.
Dear Lord, just thank you for this day. Thank you for all your many blessings. Thank you for the opportunities that we have had today as we come together tonight for the city of Freeport. Just please give us the wisdom that we need to take care of the business of the city. We'll give you the glory and the praise. In your name we ask this, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, welcome. To begin tonight's meeting, we will start with the consent agenda. Under tab 1 are the bills for the city of Freeport, and tab 2 is a regular council meeting minutes for October 14th, 2025. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? If not, I'll ask for approval from the council.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. And Councilman Dick.
Aye.
Motion carried. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
Mosquito control has an addition. Yellow flag laws.
Okay, mosquito control. All right, so anyone else? If not, I'd like approval for the addition for tonight's meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. And Councilman Dick.
Aye.
Motion carried. Staff reports, city clerk.
Good evening, council. Just a reminder of our next two meetings. We only have one for November and one for December. They are set for November 18th at 9 o'clock and December 9th at 9 o'clock. So just wanted to remind you guys of that because we had to move it because of Veterans Day. All right?
Thank you.
City manager.
Good evening, council and mayor. My one topic really was probably to put under the mayor. The mayor's trying to have a ribbon cutting for the community center. And I hate that Ms. Hapner's not here. Put her 2 cents in, but we need a date that everybody can show up. Everybody get your calendars out.
Maybe you have any recommendations?
We're going about a Friday afternoon, maybe at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
On Friday, were we talking about the first Friday in November? If that would work for everybody, I think that's the 7th.
I'm not available.
You're not available? What about the 14th?
That would work.
Yeah, that would be fine. Okay.
November 14th.
You said 4 to 6?
We'll tell everybody.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? The motion is for November 14th ribbon cutting for the new community center at 4 o'clock, 4 to 6 o'clock. Any further discussion? Public comment. Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. And Councilman Dick.
Aye.
All right, sir.
Thank y'all very much.
Engineering.
Good evening, council. Ruby Mall with your engineers. We're here to present the final VA vulnerability assessment that we've done for the city of Freeport, and that is under the Resilient Florida Grant Program. I have me today Hannah Hart. She is the driving force behind these VA studies. She does all the work. I take all the credit. So just a special thank you to Hannah. And then also a quick shout out to Matilda and Sam and Rebecca, as well as Mark, helping us do the correspondence with this grant agreement and helping us through those payment requests. So, so there's the structure of our team. I'm the project manager. Hannah Hart's been the outreach lead, and then the fellow other employees we have here listed are Dewberry staff members that are either resilient planners or data experts. And then now we're going to go into the overview of our vulnerability assessment. And I'd like to call on Hannah and let her kind of run you guys through this process of what we've been through.
All right, thank you so much, Rudy. And good evening, council members. Happy to be here today, and we're grateful to be able to serve the city of Freeport on this study. I will be brief in this overview, but just walk you quickly step by step through the process. And I want to start by sharing that the reason the city applied for this grant is because it opens up significant funding for the city for future projects to mitigate flooding. And so the statute, if you are not already aware of that, requires that the city complete this vulnerability assessment. But the good news is that it was fully funded by the state of Florida, so there was no match required. And so once this is now complete, you will be able to apply for funding for future projects, including design and construction funding for those flood mitigation projects that are right now. So I always like to kind of start with the good news and just kind of quickly run you through how we got to the completion of this study. The state of Florida has a very specific prescriptive process, which is good for consistency purposes. They first require us to start with an inventory of assets and collect that foundational data so that we can start with good data and then look at that data through the assessment of flood modeling. So we just asked, we met with the city staff, we wanted to understand where those data sources are. We had an interview with other stakeholders and public data sources, and we collected that into a spatial database using GIS. Once we identified critical assets and we got through those questions, we were able to talk with the city staff again to understand which assets are most critical, that they've seen flooding, and just to kind of understand that background as well. And then we modeled those flood conditions through the development of what's called a HECRAS 2D model. The nice benefit of this model is that it is not only exceeds the statutory standards, but it can be used in future engineering projects for final design to make sure that the sizing of the pipes and other infrastructure will be accurate based on the entire, what's called the entire drainage basin. So that's another ancillary benefit of the project. Once the flood model conditions were completed, we'll go ahead and move to the next slide. We measured the exposure of those assets and that data that had been completed against the flood model results to understand where the city has the greatest vulnerabilities to flooding. And so we just wanted to, compare the two sets of data. It is all spatially mapped now for you, and I'll also just share a little bit about those results next. And so obviously, once we assessed flood vulnerability for those assets, we wanted to look at two factors for the city of Freeport. Because the city does have what we call in the engineering world tidally influenced waterways, we both looked at coastal flood hazard data and rainfall driven flood hazard data. And so on top of those two conditions of coastal flood hazard data and rainfall flood hazard data, we also chose to have our engineers combine the data so that we would know and understand the conditions. Well, what if we were to get a storm event that had both, right? So kind of like the perfect hurricane storm event to say, okay, if we had Ian or if we had an Idalia right on top of Freeport, what would that look at? So we also went above and beyond the statutory requirements for you there, and we're able to give you that spatial data as well. Keep going a couple down. Sorry, I'm talking and trying to get a little bit ahead here. Once the results, just before we get into the data, once the results are completed, you do have the opportunity to apply for funding. We'll get a little bit more into this in a minute about adaptation planning. That's the next step in this program. And that will allow the city to start gaining some money to mitigate and design those flood mitigation projects, also at no cost to you under this program. So again, we're just going to talk a little bit about the sensitivity analysis, and then if you click one more time, we're right here, and we're about to get ready to present the final report, as well as this presentation to DEP once we're done. These next two slides just show a little bit of an example of what the modeling results look like. So the box you see here will be the video that's shown in the next slide, and it just gives you an idea. If you click on the video, hopefully it will, oh, is it a PDF? Okay, so the presentation that you have, oh, it is white, okay, good. The presentation you see here in the video that you see just shows the value of having the actual FEMA-based standard floodplain model, because an engineer can come in, insert a new proposed structure into this model, and it will give you a basin-wide approach to understand how that new structure might impact flooding both upstream and downstream. Just one more example. We can pass through this. But this was the 1% storm event example, meaning formerly known as the 100-year floodplain, or excuse me, the 100-year event, which we're of course trying to get away from just because of the misconception of the fact that it doesn't necessarily occur every 100 years. This was another example of a location that we had in the presentation, and I think if you click one more time, you can show the video here. And it will also just kind of show how the flow patterns were modeled using the Headcrest model. Go ahead and jump ahead. I know we have a couple more things to get through. Go ahead and click one more time for me. Okay. So this is just a quick scale bar to explain visually how we look at asset vulnerability compared to flood exposure. Obviously, with respect to a planning study, we don't have all of the assets elevations surveyed at survey grade level, but we are able to take the data that we have and compare that with the assets elevations and those surveys that are available. And then we just score it on a standard basis, depending on whether or not the asset is both highly critical to the community and also possibly highly sensitive to those flood modeling results. And so if we jump ahead to one more slide, you can see that DEP actually asks us to categorize the sensitivity analysis for these critical assets into 4 categories. The first category being natural, cultural, and historical assets, and you can see a few key assets that we called out here on the map for you. The report, of course, has a much more extensive explanation and list of those assets that are sensitive or low or highly sensitive. The next category of assets that are listed are what they call the bucket of community and emergency assets. And so those are just community facilities and key assets within the community that are important for emergency response. The third category of assets are critical infrastructure assets. Those include various types of assets, both linear and point-based assets. And so those are listed here. Some of the examples of those assets that are vulnerable under the flood study here. And then the fourth category is transportation assets. This is often a place where many individuals like to look to this map and the data because obviously, the roadway infrastructures, especially for evacuation purposes and other reasons, it's helpful to understand where those assets might be most vulnerable and where sections of the road could be improved so that you may not have a bottleneck in the future when it comes to evacuation or preparing for storm events. I'll just wrap up briefly by saying that we will be wrapping up about 6 months early compared to the grant compliance requirements, which I'm really excited about. And the reason I'm excited about that is in April of next year, they will be opening the grant portal open. And so the city will have an opportunity to apply for adaptation planning and also for implementation grants. The nice thing about the adaptation planning grant next steps is that you can apply for funding to actually start design on projects. It is also a no-match grant to the city, so no match is required. And to me, it's just a wonderful program that the state of Florida has started for communities such as your own, so that you can help to kind of not only plan and understand where your greatest flood vulnerabilities are, but actually do something about it and start designing projects to help the community. With that, I will end, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Mosquito control?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I had intended on having this a little bit later in the future, but brought to my attention yesterday by the company we're buying the mosquito, or the yellow fly balls from, that a shipment is coming in February from apparently China, didn't know that's where it's coming from. And after that shipment, tariffs may kick in, increase the cost, and also the next shipment would be April. It's a little late for us to get it in. So they need my order in by the end of the month. So I had to change tonight's meeting. This is approved by, or it was approved at our budget workshop. Thank you, it's the word workshop. So it is $55,750, and that is because it's 5,000 fly balls with the city logo on them. The company's very friendly, very helpful. They've been talking to me through the whole thing. I got the logo with them right now, and they're working on making the black and white model for the ball right now. All I need is the approval to go ahead with the purchase. The money's already in the budget.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Parks.
Evening, Council, Mayor. So I have one thing for tonight. It's for approval for purchasing the sound equipment for the parks and the city for our events for outdoors. So we budgeted for $140,000, and it's called Sweetwater Music and Instruments and Pro Audio. The price is $120,195.73. So we're saving $19,804 on that. So just looking for approval.
This is some good equipment.
Oh, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Is there any public comment? Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then one last thing, reminder, this Saturday, trunk or treat, it's 5 to 8 at the sports complex. So if you need something to do, we'll be out there.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Planning.
Good evening, Council. I know we're all thrilled that we're about ready to do the ribbon cutting and please see this project hit the ground. We do have, they've been collecting these change orders, so this change order here, if you have any questions about what it was for, a lot of it had to do with getting our technology in. Things had to be moved around to make room for the technology and the stage curtains. That is the majority of what led to these change orders. And I realize there is a time extension request on here. That doesn't mean we're asking it to extend longer. That's just the paperwork to document the fact that it took longer than originally. Any questions for me?
Will there be handrails on the front, from the building?
Absolutely, they're out there now. They were installed.
They back over there.
Yes, and they look fantastic. They did a nice black metal.
They're not on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
The rails this is talking about is with the ADA chair lift that's backstage. Yes. make a motion to approve the change orders for a total of $44,433.80.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hurst,
Aye.
Councilman Ferris,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan, and Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sewer.
Good evening, council. I want to talk to you about 5 items we budgeted for. I really which order you got them in for, but I seen drink boxes, $9,300 a piece, we did 2 of them.
So we need to do these separately later, can we do it all at once?
Several motions.
So do each thing one at a time.
You got to split it.
Well, there's 5, I figured that.
So I'm saying, yeah, split them all. Yeah, I mean, there's not enough overlap, so we'll split it.
We do a separate motion for the drink boxes.
You can present it all in one spot, but I need the council to separate the motions. Yeah, the trench boxes are all, they're not five, that's not what we're talking about.
Okay. All right, the second one is the generator maintenance plan. It's $46,283.87, but it's a 5-year plan. I think you'll see on the agenda there that it's prorated. I think the first year was about 8,000, something like that. So it'll actually come out the budget this year. The third item is smoke test at USSI. We're doing the oldest part of the sewer system at Freeport. We're anticipating right now $56,550. But the thing about that is we don't have any reliable maps. We don't know where all these sewer lines are at, so we wonder probably it won't go to 75. We had budgeted $200,000 for smoke testing. And this is the final smoke testing I hope that we're going to do. If mine is up here. The fourth is for John Deere tractor, $65,955.30. And all of this stuff that I'm telling you is all source well contract. The bid of it is other than USSI, doing the smoke testing. And we got a trailer to build a haul that tractor on $30,873.
Paul's, the money there.
It is, we're actually under budget.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the first one, the trench boxes for $9,300 each for 2.
So let's go ahead and say 18,600 in the record as reflected on that.
Okay, any further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hurst,
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan, and Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I'll make a motion that we purchase the generator, I'll say that right, for $46,283.87 over 5 years.
I'll second.
With the payment plan included in that.
I'll second.
That's the maintenance.
Okay, motion been made and seconded.
That's the payment.
Any further comment, discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hurst,
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan, and Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I'll make the motion for the smoke testing, but I have a question on that. You
Okay.
said that we don't know where all of our lines are.
We don't know.
We're supposed to have this big sewer model we paid all this money for a few years ago. Did that not ever pan out, or did we add a lot of stuff and not add it on?
You know, this part right here, we don't have no.
We don't have any model.
Any accurate records on it, so we're kind of shooting in the dark.
Well, after we do this, will we have an
You
idea
don't have
where everything
absolutely
is?
accurate records.
Okay, well, I'll make that motion that we pay $56,550 as reflected on tab 10 for the smoke testing.
I'll second.
And that's to USSI.
Thank you.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Public comment? Councilman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We need a motion to purchase the backhoe loader reflected in tab 11 for the amount of $165,955.30 from Beard Equipment Company.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the tractor.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And do let that reflect the record that the unit price quoted on tab 11 was based off of a Sourcewell purchasing contract identified in the quote sum.
So that was the trailer.
I'll make a motion to purchase a trailer from Towmaster on tab 12 for $30,873.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon. And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
For one clarification, Paul, are we piggybacking on Walton County's contract on that purchase?
I don't know, piggybacking off of their contract.
So I would just say we probably need to update, the price is fine, but the document indicates it's being purchased and shipped to Walton County in Puniac Springs, Florida, and lists an account number and a contract number. I'm unaware of 092922-MNR. Is a Freeport contract.
That was sloppy work by that sale. We were supposed to take that out of that.
No, nor do I believe Walton County Purchasing Account 672 would apply to the city of Freeport, although if the county wants to buy us a trailer, I don't know that we're gonna say no, but let's make sure they update that before we sign the quotation, when we all ask. So no big change in the motion, but I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Paul.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
The only thing I wanted to say is I want to remind everyone that we have Day Fest coming up on November the 1st. It should be real good this year. We've added some stuff and we have over 40 vendors. So we're excited about it. And the other thing I want to tell you is our Miss Freeport won the National Peanut Festival pageant. It's the first for Freeport. She's done an excellent job. She's already started. And she will be crowning her successor Saturday while we're at the peanut parade.
And her name is?
Her name is Kaylee Bird, and I'll bring her in to meet you all after the crowning.
Congratulations to her.
Any public comment? Tim?
I'll be brief. I know you got your little notice about Veterans Day. It matters not to me if you want to bring a spouse or a parent or a sibling. I just need to know how many chairs you want me to reserve for your group. So by the week before, on the 4th, if you'll just text me or call me and let me know how many chairs you want. Now, the reason that I stayed and came up for public comment is because I failed to tell Russ. You know, we talked about the professional signage that we wanted to have put out there. Well, that is ordered. And originally, they told me that it would definitely be here for Veterans Day. Now, is it again, maybe not. So, it's no big deal. It's not anything, that's the very reason I did not put it out on Facebook. We're going to unveil one final thing. But in the event that it comes, and Parks and Rec can help me get it in the ground, we're going to cover it, and I'm going to have the mayor and council unveil it that day. So just so you're not caught completely off guard, if the sign makes it, I'd love for you guys to participate. And the artist rendition is quite beautiful, and I think you're going to be very proud of it. I'm sure you will.
Sounds great.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Any other comment? Any other public comment? If not, meeting is adjourned.